Going to react to some news that dropped last night here on Mavericks Today. Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein. Kyrie Irving, this kind of came out of nowhere. Surgery on his left hand. And when I first saw the noti, I was like, was he playing through injury? Maybe that's why he struggled so much in the finals, but apparently not. In some off-season training, he injured his left hand. To the point where he had to get a surgery for it.
I'm sitting there watching the All-Star game, trying to have a peaceful night, and here I get this notification. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Kyrie has a broken hand. At first, I was like, well, is he going to miss the beginning of the season? Like, broken hands don't heal in, 4 to 8 weeks, but it does sound like he's going to be ready by the start of training camp, according to Tim McMahon. And the fact that it's his left hand also gives me a little more optimism. It's his offhand. It's not his dominant right shooting hand, so it's not the end of the world, but it's not the most ideal thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, look, you use both hands in basketball. He especially does, especially around the rim. He obviously is a ball handler, so yeah, I mean, this isn't the most ideal. To me, I don't even really care if he's ready for training camp or not. Just be ready. Be ready for opening night. I guess the one benefit of this is he can kind of just rest a little bit, rehab, and these guys played a lot of basketball last year, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the notification you want to get hit with in the latter part of July, but better now than in late August, I guess. So I think, like you said, not ideal, but not a disaster, and you certainly need him to come back and be a legitimate Robin once again for Luka Doncic.
Yeah, we know what he means to this team on and off the court. He was the second best player last year, and there were times where the Mavericks definitely wouldn't have gotten as far as they did without Kyrie Irving. So we know what he means to the organization. We know what he means on the court as well. He's going to be a big part of this team going forward, and I hope he can play more than 58 regular season games than he did last year, and that starts with being healthy by opening night, which it all sounds like he will be. I guess we'll see as time goes on, but these things, I feel like with the Mavericks especially, these things tend to linger a little longer than originally let on. So we'll see if Kyrie plays in the preseason and partakes in training camp, but I do think he will be ready come October 15th or so, which is right around 90 days away from opening night of the NBA season.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mentioned this either yesterday or the episode before that I think in general with Kyrie, you're going to see Dallas probably try to manage him a little bit more anyway. So they're going to be cautious with this. You want him, obviously you want him to play, at least 60, 65 plus games. I'm not saying you want him taking every other game off, but you want him to be full throttle for the postseason, not just for this year, but for the next few years ideally. So, we'll see how long this thing, if it does linger, obviously they're going to take a cautious approach, but we know that the time is now for Dallas. They went out and got Klay Thompson for a reason. They feel like they're close, and obviously Kyrie has to be healthy for them to reach the goals they want to reach. So
there's no time like the present for the Mavericks to do what they set out to do, and they need Kyrie to do that 100%.
No question. If you're wishing Kyrie a speedy recovery, type 11 down in the comments below. We certainly are here at Mavericks Today. Go hit the beach, Kyrie. Hang out with the fam, and in a couple of months you can get back to your standard off-season training. Now you look at some available point guards, Scoop. Obviously, again, we expect Kyrie to be fine, but we were already talking about this position as a potential spot to add a player. We've obviously talked about Dennis Smith Jr., Spencer Dinwiddie quite a bit on this channel. By the way, I guess that Chris Dunn thing hasn't gone through yet with the Clippers. So
it is not. He's still available.
Technically, he's still out there. We've talked to Markelle Fultz a little bit. Devontae Graham's an interesting one. He was a Sixth Man of the Year a few years ago, and since then has kind of fallen off. Could he get revitalized? Who knows? But I do think adding another playmaker, ball handler type would certainly benefit this team. Patrick Beverley, Cam Payne, a couple of veteran point guards have come off the market as Beverley's going to Tel Aviv.
He is.
And Cam Payne signed with the Knicks. So,
AKA Terry.
Yeah. Shout out to Terry. There's still some names out there though if Dallas wants to address this position.
Look, and I even think if Kyrie's healthy, this is a position that they should address simply because they don't have another true point guard on the roster outside of Luka and Kyrie. If you want to consider Jaden Hardy that, be my guest. I don't.
Dante Exum.
I don't.
They can handle the ball, but
Is he a true point guard who is a guy that's going to initiate offense? I don't think so. Exum's more of a guy who's going to push the pace a little bit and try to get out and run. So I still think this is a need for the Mavs, and if Kyrie's going to miss time especially, I think it even, heightens that need.
Yeah, and look, we know over the course of a 82-game season, Luka's not playing 82 games, Kyrie's not playing 82 games. I think Hardy showed some promise in the playoffs to be like a in spurts playmaker, but like if he's going to have a bigger role, like can he initiate an offense for 15 minutes a game? I don't know. I think he could do it for like 5 to 8 and then play off ball for another 8 to 12. But, I think if they feel good about Spencer Dinwiddie's fit and what he did a couple of years ago here, like to me, that's the direction you go.
I think it's obvious.
Unless you want to go defensive guy with Dennis Smith, which I wouldn't complain either. But we'll see how that plays out. I think they're going to let Summer League play out, Coop, and kind of let the dust settle on this thing. And then, we saw last year, I think both Derrick Jones Jr., for sure Jones was either August or maybe even September.
Yeah, Jones was, I believe Jones and Exum were both August.
So, yeah, I mean, you kind of see that like next wave of free agency kind of trickle through once Summer League ends. So we'll see if the Mavericks get involved in that action at all. Continue to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We will plug out videos here on Dallas Mavericks today, trying to get to 30,000 subs on the channel. You guys have been awesome with your support. We'll continue to cover the latest here. How about Mario Hezonja, Coop? We talked about him maybe about a month ago as maybe he's this year's Dante Exum, as he has until July 20th to opt out of his contract with Real Madrid and exercise the right to return to the NBA. So that's coming up, obviously, in a few days here. And listen, in the NBA, he wasn't a disaster, but where he was drafted, he was certainly a bust, kind of like Dante Exum. Like, he was okay, but not good enough to stay in a rotation, so he goes to Europe. And in Europe, he was really good the last couple of years, shot 40+% from three. So, hey, like, maybe he's an option for your 15th spot on your roster.
You could do worse at this time of year, given the free agent crop that's currently out there, I think, personally. I mean, he's a guy that can shoot the three at a high level, and every NBA team is looking for guys who shoot the three at 40%, which is something that Hezonja did last year with Real Madrid. He shot 40.2% and averaged 12 points a game in a game that's 40 minutes as opposed to 48. So his numbers looked really good last year. He was playing some of the best ball of his career, and if the Mavs wanted to go this direction once again, I think they could do a lot worse than signing Mario Hezonja.
Yeah, and I think time has shown more and more that these guys that play in the top European league in the world,
they're good enough.
They can come over and contribute. Now, has he got to be a starting member of this team? No, but I think over the course of 82, he can help you as a shooter, scorer off the bench. So, yeah, I mean, I would be pleased if they added a guy like this who has some positional versatility as well. So we'll see if he's an option, and maybe that's part of Dallas, keeping that last spot. If he does opt out, maybe they're interested. They love international players. They did this with Dante last year, and maybe he's on their radar, so they're going to let that July 20th day come and go. And if he opts to try to return to the NBA, then I would expect Dallas to be among the teams interested, just given their history with international free agents.
Absolutely. Type S for sign, type P for pass. Should the Mavs sign Mario Hezonja? I wouldn't be against it. They already have an abundance of wings, but you can never have enough shooting. So I would be in on it if they decided to go that route.
Third Summer League game is tonight.
Today.
Today, that's right, 2 o'clock this afternoon. Anything crazy happens, we'll throw a short up on the channel afterwards. Mavericks Heat, F Miami in the chat, F Roller. You guys know the drill. I think what's interesting is this I forget the kid's first name. Sharp, though.
Yeah,
Jamarion Sharp. Pretty good opportunity, right? Going up against Kel'el Ware, who's been one of the better players in Summer League, lottery pick for Miami, or just outside the lottery, whatever it was, who's been good. Obviously, the Mavs got blown out their last game, so you would think they'd want to come out and play better. But if Sharp can go out there, Coop, and hold his own against a talent like Kel'el Ware, that gives him, I think, at least a shot to get a two-way contract with this team, as they still have 2 open spots in that regard. I mean, look, 7'5", decent athleticism, can't teach 7'5". If he can hold his own against Kel'el Ware, I mean, I'd like to keep that guy around and see if you can develop him.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. The Mavericks scored 7 points in the first quarter in the last game, so we're hoping for a little more than that. But I do think Sharpe has an opportunity here, and I really think that even if it's not with the Mavs, somebody's going to pick him up, and he will be on an NBA roster this season, whether it's a two-way or as a full-time contract guy. But I really like his upside, especially, like you said, you can't teach 7'5", and you can't teach natural shot blocking ability, which is what he has.
And he's not a complete stiff at 7'5".
Exactly.
Like, he can move a little bit. So I'm intrigued to watch that. We'll be keeping tabs, and hopefully you guys will as well. We'll talk to you guys soon here on Mavericks Today.
See you guys.
Don't forget to subscribe.